Thanks for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm talking about a project that is sort of centered at Dartmouth College, but has involved a lot of people, called Building Financial Literacy for Pre-Service Teachers and Adult Learners. However, I would like to say that in an effort to target those people, we basically targeted a whole age group. So, the goal for this project was to create curriculum materials primarily to use with a certain age group, and that age group would be maybe 16 years old to maybe 24, 25 years old, people who are in college, close to being in college, or should be in college, or maybe will go back to college. They should also be usable for anyone who's in college, even if that person is an older person, perhaps going back to the community college for an additional course. And find opportunities for using these materials in classrooms, and with a special eye toward the pre-service teachers, the people who will be teaching young students later. Test these in various places and promote their use, and then finally understand a few research questions that we probably should answer for this demographic. So here's the basic stuff that we built in the last couple of years. We made freestanding modules on a variety of topics. So the first two topics are really about basic budgeting. What happens when you get your paycheck? How much money do you really get? And then how do you make a budget for running a household? The next three are about credit, because everybody's bombarded with credit offers and loan offers and stuff. And then the next three are investing, three types of investing: savings, stock market, mutual funds. What happens to your money when you invest it. And then the last two are about saving for retirement. And so you'll see the second to the last one is called Your Parents Will Move In With You. This is intended to be scary, right, for the 18 to 25-year-old crowd. And it explains why your parents might have to move in with you if they invested in a certain way 40 years ago. And the implicit lesson is don't imitate them, right? So we thought that was a good approach. I don't know. So the format of these, each module includes a lot of things. It includes a slideshow with embedded YouTube videos and things like that you can use in the classroom. It has pre and post tests, so you don't have to build them yourself. The object here was to make it so easy for teachers to use this that they would just go for it. There's huge numbers of instructor notes with targeting various sorts of populations. So if you're the teacher, you go through and you throw out most of them and you keep the ones that are useful. There's spreadsheets and there's case studies. So each module has that. And the point was to, first of all, emphasize quantitative aspects of financial decisions. I'm Dorothy Wallace. I'm from the math department at Dartmouth College. Second, to use three kinds of languages in every module: the language of the financial world, the language of mathematics, and the language that ordinary people use when they talk about money, which is why the YouTube videos. Give a lot of options for how to use, appeal to college-age adults, address the needs of people who are doing something for the first time, the first apartment, the first car purchase, and so on. And finally, to treat the learner as an adult, because they are adults, and in particular the case studies do that, puts you in a position of being an advisor to someone else. And the spreadsheets do that, because every adult probably should touch a spreadsheet at some point in their life. That's the core. In addition, we did two other things. We wrote a complete textbook, sort of at the request of the Vermont Community College System, who is considering offering an alternative to their developmental math course, which is completely financially centered. Okay? So this is a free online text, and it's, I have to say, still in a rough form, but it's complete. And it was done for them. We'll see if they will use it. I have to talk to them. They would be running workshops to prepare to do this summer. And then a series of videos, which are either mini case studies or I guess you'd say propaganda pieces, that you can use in faculty development workshops, or you can use in the classroom as a basis for discussion. And a few new videos will be added this summer, and a new module on taxes. So here's where you might want to use this material. There are a lot of quantitative reasoning requirements appearing in colleges throughout this country. People enter a college, they're given a test. If they score below a certain amount, they have to take the quantitative reasoning course. Almost every one of those courses has some financial stuff in it, and usually it's pretty thin stuff. It could easily be much, much bigger and better, and a real draw, actually, for the students. So that's one of the big places we had in mind. As part of a financial literacy course, for those colleges, there are few of them that offer that. As part of faculty development, when people are doing workshops with teachers at any level, in conjunction with some games, we've been looking at this game called Nest Egg, but Nest Egg is really about investing. We think we should maybe be looking at Bike Club as far as budgeting goes. And at moments when life changes, you know, when you need to make a decision, there's usually a module about that decision. So here's where they've been tried, okay? And they've been tried sort of erratically over the last couple of years because we wanted some formative feedback. So Mass Bay Community College inserted a module into a math course. Bowdoin College used 3 modules as part of a quantitative reasoning course last fall. Champlain College, Billy was there. We used 1 module with the teachers who were at a workshop there. The modules were indirect inspiration for an event that happened at my own college, a senior survival series, 3 talks on financial stuff for seniors about to graduate, okay? And then next year, they're going to go into a quantitative reasoning course at Hollins University, and I'm really looking forward to that because I think we can actually convince the instructor of that course to do a proper evaluation. It's very hard to get instructors to do anything other than the tests that they believe are useful. So, how did it go? Well, Mass Bay, the instructor liked it. She said it worked well with her classes. Bowdoin, he actually looked at some data between a correlation between how they did on a homework assignment based on it versus a quiz later. The teacher workshops at Champlain College, we really got some qualitative view of how a case study worked. It was very interesting. And the senior survival lectures were declared a success by the Alumni Relations Office, and so they were a success. I mean, you know, that's... And so the major remaining task is to get these into use. I mean, once they get into use and we find out what's wrong with them, we can fix it. But until they're in use, we'll never know. And so the strategy for that is to find out where every single quantitative reasoning program is in this country. I mean, nobody has that piece of information yet. Run faculty development workshops for teachers, which would be very much easier to do if we knew the answer to the first one, right? Work through alumni organizations, perhaps at other institutions, because that's what caused the senior survival series to happen at Dartmouth, was the interest of alumni. And then collaborate with the makers of games, you know, to see how you might interactively use the modules with a nice gaming format. Those are all things we'd like to do someday. Soon, I hope. And then 3 research questions, I guess you'd call them research questions, that have arisen as a result of this. The first one is, what is the state of QR in the country? Because this is the natural target for any sort of quantitative discussion of financial literacy. What is the natural learning progression for financial literacy? And I'm just going to talk for a minute about this. So do you need to learn a certain amount of math first before you can understand certain financial concepts? Or are you better off learning the math as you learn the financial concept, okay? I am one of the editors of the journal Numeracy. We have had authors vehemently argue that mathematical concepts such as exponential growth should be taught in context. And we've had other authors vehemently argue that if you don't have the basic arithmetic and math and so forth in place, the developmental math has to come first before you can do that. And we've had other authors vehemently argue that the two are really separate issues, right? And this plays out at several levels. Like in the classroom, it affects how you would present any piece of material to do with financial literacy. Would you do the math first? Make sure everyone knew it? Or not? And then on the macroscopic scale, at the policy level, for systems of education, it plays out because there are whole states trying to decide whether that developmental math stuff should be a prerequisite for the quantitative reasoning course or not, right? And some states are saying, yeah, you can't even take the quantitative reasoning course until you have passed algebra, okay? So college algebra. So it's really not, I mean, it's all possible reasonings are argued and none is supported by data. So it would be nice to have some data. And then finally, the third thing I would like to know is how can we take the content of the curriculum, which I believe is well suited to the audience, and integrate it with these very appealing games that are out there. That takes a little bit of work and a little bit of testing, and we haven't gotten that far yet, so that's a next step for us. And finally, I would just like to point out that this is not my work. It's the work of many, many, many people. And here's what would you call it on the internet? You call it the blog roll, right? This is everybody who's helped with these modules, with the book, with the videos, et cetera. And the last person on the list should be first on a Lusardi. So thank you very much.